Hello everybody! Several months ago I had made a first impressions video about a foreign language curriculum called TalkBox Mom. They have tons and tons of different languages, but here on my channel I just talk about their Spanish curriculum because that's the only one that we're using. That's the only language that we're studying. And I know sometimes with this sort of thing you get a lot of first impression videos and then it just kind of drops off and you're left wondering, you know, what happened? Was it a dud? Did you keep going? Where are you at? So I thought that I would make a video just kind of talking about my thoughts now that we've been doing it for several months. So at this point we are on box 2. We're actually getting box 4 shipped to us, but we're not caught up to that. We took a break for about 2 months. We just had a lot going on during that time. And so it was kind of just a time to cut back on anything that we could cut back on to make life a little bit easier while we had so much going on. And with a lot of language programs, you hear the phrase, if you don't use it, you lose it. But I will say that with the TalkBox Mom program, that wasn't true for us. We weren't making progress and learning new phrases during those 2 months, but we didn't lose what we had learned either because the phrases are so perfect for your day-to-day life. They just become so routine that at least when we're at home, we don't really even use those phrases in English anymore. We use them in Spanish pretty much all the time. So we weren't losing what we had already learned. That was something that I had mentioned in my first impressions video. I'm sorry, my cat is in here being distracting and I can't keep her away. Millie. Millie. Why do cats like to eat cardboard? Booger, booger, she's a furry booger, booger. I don't know. In my first impressions video, I talked a little bit about that because I feel like a lot of programs, the example I gave was Duolingo, you get phrases like the man eats the apple, and you don't really say that stuff a lot in real life, but my first impression absolutely held through. Every single phrase that we've learned is very applicable to us. And we skipped some that really weren't, that we would just forget about. Although I kind of can't forget that apricots are chabacanos, even though my kids don't like apricots. It's just a fun one to say. So yeah, we retained, I would probably say a good 80–90%. One of my other concerns or things that I didn't really like from my first video was that you couldn't pick which box you got. But I will say my mind has kind of changed on that. I like the way these boxes are building on each other. You get some new stuff, that way you don't feel like you're just in this perpetual rut of the same thing, but it kind of pulls from the phrases that you already know, and even some that are in the Use Spanish at Home guidebook. So it just leads to a very natural learning curve. And that leads me to my next point. I have researched and or used, I swear, every Spanish learning curriculum option that there is for homeschoolers. And I think part of why it doesn't stick is that so many language learning programs start at the end point, right? Like when we're learning English, we don't start by conjugating verbs, but that's like square one for a lot of language learning programs. So TalkBox Mom really like honed in on how we naturally learn language. They created a system that they call, I think it's layers of fluency, something like that, where it's first hearing the words and then all the way up to the more refined parts. To the next point, the price. I was so hesitant to use this program because it was so pricey, and even on my first impression, I was like, the cost of this is a lot. It's worth every penny. We definitely learned, I think it was $80 for the box. We definitely learned $80 worth of Spanish. It was so worth it. And you do not have to pay full price. I have a referral code that I'll put here, and I will also leave it in the description, where you can get $15 off your first box when you bundle it with the Use Fill in the Blank Language at Home book. And that also gives me a $15 credit, so that helps my family out as well. and I would really appreciate if you used it. So you get all the materials in your box. You get all of the audio files in their app. You get their live trainings, which are so helpful, especially if, like us, you have to take a break at one point and you have to kind of get back into it. Listening to those live trainings is really encouraging and motivating and helps keep you on track. They also have fun extra activities. So like right now in our box 2, we are working on learning some nursery rhymes. So that's been a lot of fun. But there's also like game suggestions, bingo cards, memory cards. So like, not like flashcards. They don't really recommend doing flashcards and just using individual words, but like the game of memory where you lay the cards out and then you flip them and try to find the match. And they give you suggestions for how to do that while using full sentences. Sometimes we play Go Fish with those. They have so many fun ideas. And they do have a Facebook group for discussion. I don't use Facebook because in general, I find that that site does not add value to my life. So I really can't speak on how valuable that specific group is. But you know, if you do use Facebook, you can be part of their group and ask questions. However, I found I don't really have a lot of questions. They really cover every single base, and I really, really like this program. We've been homeschooling now for 3 years, and I've never recommended any of the programs that we used before TalkBox Mom. Time commitment. I didn't really talk about this in the first impression video because I had no experience with it. But now that we've been going with it for a couple months, I feel like we can talk about the time commitment. It really is whatever you want it to be. We could probably move through these boxes faster if we committed more time to them, more days a week to them. Right now, we just do it 4 to 5 days a week on our school days, and we do it after breakfast for probably 15 to 20 minutes. So if you're even doing that 20 minutes 7 days a week, or if you can do it at every meal, adding up to like 45, 60 minutes a day, you'll get through it a lot faster. But you definitely do not have to make it a huge time commitment. And again, you're learning words and phrases that are applicable to your everyday life. So once you know a phrase, it doesn't really take a lot of intention to use it. Like at first it kind of does, but now my kids know when I'm making dinner and I yell, "Pon la mesa, por favor," they'll say, "Necesitamos cucharas o tenedores." They know what we're saying, and it just makes it easy to get practice in without realizing that you're practicing. So all in all, I absolutely wholeheartedly recommend this curriculum to anybody who's interested. 10 out of 10, I love it. And I hope that this follow-up was helpful to you in some way. Thanks for watching.